Don't miss out on important news. Our videos are being deleted. So if you don't want to be cut off from honest news, take a moment to sign up for our newsletter at newsletter.ntd.com so you don't lose access to NTD. Go to newsletter.ntd.com to sign up for our evening newsletter.
The Washington Post is walking back claims that former President Trump told Georgia's elections investigator to, quote, find the fraud. They admit the article falsified quotes attributed to Trump, but issued no apology. NTD's Christina Kim has more.
The Washington Post says in an update that Trump did not tell the investigator to find the fraud or say she would be a national hero if she did so. The March 11th update is added to the story that was originally published in January. Instead, Trump urged the investigator to scrutinize Fulton County, where he said they would find dishonesty. According to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and his officials, Fulton County had many issues during the 2020 election. A number of Democrat lawmakers cited the fake quotes to push for Trump's impeachment, and CNN, Reuters, ABC, NBC, and the Associated Press reported the falsified quotes, citing a single anonymous source. As of today, only CNN updated its article, saying the earlier version had a paraphrasing of Trump's comments. Critics say this illustrates the severe problem with the media's lack of accountability. Mark Hemingway, a senior writer at Real Clear Investigations, said this mistake is beyond serious for corporate media that, quote, insist they're the ones holding the line on the truth. While others, like MSNBC writer Hayes Brown, say corrections are good, and what would be corrupt is if they never issued a correction. Some say the specific quote was not accurate, but the overall narrative that Trump pressured election officials stands true. Christina Kim, NTD News.
Skies turn orange in Beijing as sand and dust descend on the city. Air quality indexes there reach hazardous levels. Media reports are calling it the worst sandstorm in a decade. NTD's Tiffany Meyer has more.
The worst sandstorm in a decade blew through China's capital on Monday. Skyscrapers appear to vanish from sight, and hundreds of flights were canceled. The National Meteorological Center forecasts said the sand and dust would affect 12 provinces and regions, spanning from Xinjiang in the far northwest to Heilongjiang in the northeast and the eastern coastal city of Tianjin. The city's Environmental Monitoring Center says floating particles, known as PM10, rose beyond 8,000 micrograms per cubic meter in some Beijing districts. The World Health Organization recommends average daily PM10 levels of no more than 50 micrograms. Sandstorms happen regularly in the springtime. Sand from China's Gobi Desert blows eastward, helped along by deforestation and soil erosion throughout northern China.
It's spring break now in Miami. This means a lot more visitors in the city. But things got a little chaotic this past weekend. NTD's Allison Lee has the details.
Local police arrested nearly 150 people in Miami Beach, Florida last Friday and Saturday. Spring breakers clashed with police as police officers tried to break up what they called aggressive gathering. Miami Beach Police confirms that on Friday night they had to use pepper balls to disperse the large crowd. This is because people were surrounding the police. 2 officers were injured in the process. Miami Beach Mayor Dan Gelber says people were throwing rocks and bottles at police officers patrolling the streets. And when police tried to arrest a person in the crowd turned on the police. The Democrat mayor sends a warning message to visitors causing trouble in the city. Quote, if you are coming here because you think anything goes, you're going to have a terrible time. We are going to arrest you. Gelber also disapproves of young visitors who don't wear masks.
I don't know if anybody learned from last year's experience. We did, in the sense that we know younger people are going to not wear masks. I'm hoping they did, but I think a lot of younger people are feeling like they want to get out and go crazy, and we're trying to let them know, don't do that.
According to local news network Local 10, police arrested close to 120 people on Friday night, charging 42 of them for felonies. They confiscated firearms, drugs, and cash. On Saturday, the police arrested another 30 people. The city of Miami Beach has a midnight curfew in response to the CCP virus. There are no statewide lockdowns or mask mandates in Florida, but local governments are still free to impose their own restrictions. Reporting by Allison Lee, NTD News.
If you were wondering just what goes on behind closed doors in China's ruling communist regime, especially in the last year or so, you're not alone. Europeans are growing increasingly distrustful of the regime. NTD's France correspondent David Vives speaks with a senator there to shed some light on the topic.
For more than 10 years, French Senator André Gattolin worked on France's foreign policies, where he observed the CCP and its impact in Asia and in Europe. He says recently he's noticed significant changes within the French government.
People I warned about the CCP's influence 10 years ago used to tell me I was paranoid. Today, some ministers and high-level officials I speak with in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs seem distrustful and suspicious towards China.
Gattolin says there are several telling examples of that. One is Confucius Institutes closing down in various universities across Europe.
In the Netherlands, 2 Confucius Institutes have recently been closed over suspicion of spy activities from the CCP. It seems the CCP thought it would be easy, but that's not the case.
And there are similar cases in the UK. Earlier this month, Kentucky University announced it had closed its Confucius Institute. In a letter, the university president said, quote, "There is growing and strong federal regulatory concern regarding Confucius Institutes. That is simply a facet of ongoing tensions between our two countries." But Gattolin says Chinese officials, CCP, are bolder than ever when they approach French officials and in what they are asking from them, in their attempts to influence decision-making.
The CCP is getting more aggressive and bold. Though it's quite easy to close the Confucius Institute, it's harder to stop the CCP's attempts to influence the universities through the networks it's in and the funding it gives.
A poll published in November 2020 shows that around 70% of people in France have negative or very negative feeling towards the Chinese regime. David Vives, NTD News, Paris.
The Vatican says the Catholic Church can't bless same-sex unions because God, quote, cannot bless sin. The Vatican's Orthodoxy office issued the statement Monday with the Pope's approval. But there is a distinction. The Church can welcome and bless gay people. It's the union that the Church won't bless because they say it's not part of God's plan. They say doing that could give the impression that same-sex unions have a sacramental equivalence to marriage, which would be incorrect. The Vatican says gay people must be treated with dignity and respect, but Catholic teaching says marriage is a lifelong union between a man and a woman that can create life.
Hi, we're happy to announce that you can also catch us on cable TV now. Millions of households already choose us as one of their trusted news sources, and you can too. You can watch us in Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York, and many other cities as well. And if your system doesn't carry NTD yet, you can just give them a quick call and request NTD on your cable provider. Thank you for watching. See you next time.